G'day folks. Well, this is part 2. We're going to talk about the engine. I think just the engine on this one. I was going to do the transmission, but I think by the time I get through what I've done on the inside of it and what I've done to the outside, there's going to be enough information there, guys, to do a video on. Now what you see is not necessarily what you get. This has been a culmination of 5 years of development, of testing, of fine-tuning, trying different parts and getting it to where I'm pretty much, look, to be honest, I'm 100% happy with this engine. It's an amazing little setup. Who says the old Australian humble Holden engine is no good? Yes, everyone's going LS, good on them. But these little motors, mark my words, I think are very underrated. There's just a few basic little tricks you got to do to them to have incredible success. Yes, they're never going to make the big horsepower a LS will, but don't ever write these little things off. I can guarantee one of these days, guys, I want to put 1,000 horsepower at the flywheel. We're not talking at the wheels, but I want to crack 1,000 horsepower. And if it takes 20 pounds of boost, 21, whatever it takes, one of these days I'm going to crack that mark. So without further ado again, let's talk about the engine. Well, it's a stock stroke 308. It's got the factory crankshaft in it. We have a VN style rod, conrod in it, which has been lightened and balanced, and it has ARP rod bolts in it. Don't ask me the size of the bolts, I can't remember, but that's what it's got. They were kindly donated, I'll mention it, to a fella by the name of Rick, which I'll never forget Rick. They're running like a beast, mate, and I've got you to thank for them. We have Hypertect 40 thou over cast pistons in it, so we don't have forged pistons in this either, guys. We've got, I think they're a Hastings ring, they're not a Molly ring. I think they're only a cast ring, from memory. I have gapped them. They are a minimum of 25 thousandths gap. Very important when you're boosting an engine, just to gap your rings to the minimum. And I say 25 thou for the top and the second ring. We run a studded, we've got studs for the main caps on the bottom of the engine, and I run a stud girdle as well. Some people swear by them, some people don't. Well, I swear by them. So, because last time I pulled my 355 out and checked it, I had no movement in the stud, in the main caps. So to me that was a win. So we have that, and it's all been balanced. The whole rotating assembly down below. We run a camshaft. We run a 224 by 224 at 50 thousandths. It's a 495 lift, and I think, don't quote me on it guys, but I think it's around a 112 lobe separation on the camshaft. Probably not the perfect turbo grind, but it's proved itself, guys. We're not chasing extreme horsepower. We're chasing sort of moderate horsepower, and we're doing it very easy. So, and like I said before, reliability is the ultimate for me. We run it's a Edelbrock single plane torquer, and I've actually taken to that with a die grinder, and I've ground all the guts out of it and really cleaned it up, guys, and it's a beautiful little manifold. It's all been match ported, so we've got beautiful match porting to all to the heads and it's been an absolute little ripper, that manifold, and I'll never part with that. It'll always be my number one go-to manifold, the Edelbrock's. We're running -3 aluminum heads, which are Yellow Terra. They have a 194 inlet valve, and I think they've got a 1.6 exhaust valve. Now they're a high port design, guys, so the design is we lift the manifold up around 20 odd millimeters, and the ports are slightly higher on them. These apparently flow 490 horsepower out of the box. Now they're designed more for the 308 cubic inch, and they work really well. So they're a fantastic little head, Australian made, and they're a lot better over the cast heads. It's funny, you know, guys, when I first started to turbo my engine, I always thought the cast head was a better head for durability, for just for the boosted engine. Well, it turns out I've changed my mind completely. I think the alloy heads are a better head for a boosted application, for the reason that they just give off, or they get rid of the heat so efficiently than the cast iron heads. Cast iron heads would be okay in a drag application, just a quick blast, not an issue. But as far as lap after lap deal, which I do, I think your aluminium head or your aluminum head, it just gets rid of that heat out of the cylinders. You can transfer it to the water if you've got a good cooling system, or bang, you've got excellent cooling ability. And I think the alloy head offers that, and it's a weight reduction too, guys. 21 kilo saving there, so that's a win-win-win for me. We're running the what are they? They call them a tight. I think they're a platinum version race rocker, 1.65 ratio roller rocker. So they're they're not a single pedestal. They're on a twin rocker mount. So there's a shaft that runs, and they're in pairs. Very stable rocker, very good quality rocker. They're the sort of the ultimate rockers that Yellow Terra offer. They've got double valve springs in them. I think you can run up to about nearly 600 thou lift with these springs and set up on them. So my 498 is very conservative. Fantastic, very happy with the heads. Money well spent there, actually. So that's that. So we're running like I said, 40 thou over. We have a compression roughly, guys. I think, well, I don't know for sure, but I think it's be struggling to be 9:1 compression. So because we are running the dish pistons in it, it seems to work really well though. I actually feel that I can run a little bit more timing on this combination than I could with the 355. Because that was around 9.7 to 1, that one came in at. But that had forged pistons and all the rest of it. But I've talked about that in other videos. You've only got to go back and look at it, and yeah, you'll find out about it. But this, to be honest, I prefer this motor than the 355. And I've said it in other vids, guys, because it is an awesome little engine. Now the oil pump is a standard volume aluminum oil pump, and to be honest, I think it may be a Chinese pump, but it felt really, when I got it, it was I did actually have to sand the surface together to get a nice seal to make them, but it's had the full mod trick on it, guys, and I did a video on that, so if you're quite interested in it, it's called Race Prepping a Holden V8 oil pump. And I did that trick, and it was incredible. I'm sort of getting, on really hot oil, guys, no less than 30 pound at idle on those both motors that I've done. And it shoots out to I think about 75, and the relief valve cuts in, because I've packed the spring on it, and I've done all the little flowing, you know, like the porting on the inside, and it's really made a huge difference. So anyone that's sort of looking at wanting to improve good oil pressure down low and a good ramping effect, because I know once you even just bring the revs up on this, the pressure really climbs quickly. You're up around 60 pound at 3,000 revs, whereas it wouldn't do that before. It would just go on a sort of a 10 pound per 1,000 rev basis and just sort of ramp up as it went. Whereas now it seems to exceed even quicker, and that's due to all the modifying I've done inside that oil pump. So that was a great little trick old TK offered on that one. So that's what that's had done to it. Now I want to talk about that oiling mod, guys, underneath on the sump. That and this oil scavenge out of the heads was the turnaround to making this survive, guys, because with my last engine I had a few little issues go on with it, and one was thrust, which totaled the engine, which was such a shame because of the converter and all that, but I will talk about that actually on the transmission video. But the oiling mods that I've done to this ensures that I can get rid of oil out of the heads, because that's the downfall with these motors. They do pump up through the push rods and into the heads huge volumes of oil. And if you can't get rid of that, you're going to run your sump dry, and then you're just going to run out of oil in the bottom of the sump. So I've got 2 lines plumbed into the back of the heads, and I've got a scavenge pump, guys, that I've mounted underneath the car, the same as the turbo scavenge pump, and I pump the pumps on all the time. So if we get a build-up of oil coming up into the heads, the pump will divert it out of the back of the heads and into the bottom of the sump, which I've modified the sump. I've got huge wings on it, I've deepened it 20 mil, and I've got a capacity now, guys, of nearly 10 litres of oil. It's unbelievable. I do an oil change, I've only got, I think, about 500, so now 9.5 litres, 500 mils out of 2 5-litre containers. So we've got huge amounts of storage. We've got a modified pickup that I've had to mod to bring it a bit lower and a little bit bigger in design. And that was a real, God, that was a battle to get that right. But we got there in the finish. So we've got a fantastic deep sump coupled with a fantastic bigger head oil pickup, and we've got baffling going on around the pickup to protect from sloshing, you know, from movement there. We've got big deep windage sump, custom made, and we've got oil scavenge out of the heads externally. So we're going to get a constant supply of oil to the pickup, and that's what it called for, guys. I get fantastic consistent oil pressure no matter where I am on the track, under reasonable revs, cornering, and I haven't even got the accumulator hooked up. But we're going to hook that up down the track. No doubt once them sticky tyres come on, we'll address that. But for now, this is working very well, and I'm so thrilled with it all. Now, there's another thing, guys, I've done with the water. There was another little trick. Apparently they do suffer from steam pockets in the back of the heads. Water just gets sort of trapped in there, and air gets trapped in there, and you get these little steam pockets, and apparently it's hard to get rid of. So we've tapped into the back of the manifold on the back of it, and we run a water line. So we've always got this little circulation of water running around from the back of the heads to the front here all the time. So that was another little trick I ended up doing there. Of course, I've got the quick fuel 4-barrel double pumper blow through carb. It's a 650. You know, that carby, guys, I've only mucked around with the jetting on it. So it's been an absolute performer, that carb. I just can't talk highly enough of it. They're not the most expensive one. Apparently there's others out there like CNS do a beautiful carby. Even different brands, Holly do one, but the quick fill for me, I found that I really just like the functionality of it. It's got the glass side for the floats. It's easy to set your float levels here. I've had to actually play around with them just a little bit just to get it perfect. And it's very easy to service, keep clean, and it's been bulletproof for me. So to me, I think that's the real success is a good carby, good quality carby and fuel system. Now, of course, the water pump is just a standard water pump. There's nothing flash going on there, guys. We run 100 amp, no, it's 110, sorry. No, it's not. No, that's my other car. Sorry, I get confused. I think that's an 80 amp alternator. I think, guys, that's a little under at the minute. I do plan when this one sort of wears out, I'll go to 110, 20 amp. I might just go slightly bigger with that. I run a power steering pump, and that's for my steering rack, which I'll talk about in another video. But I want to touch on something else just before I close out on this one, guys. The cooling system. To me, that has been, and I'll move the camera down so you can just sort of see a little bit more of it. I hope you can sort of just pick it up. Now I'll explain what I've sort of done. This is the modification side of it. Now this is a ProFlow Rad. It's a 3-core, but the cores are a little bit more elongated than the factory ones that, the brass copper ones. But I did find out that ProFlow is all Chinese made stuff. And yes, I do like their product, don't get me wrong. This is actually a good radiator. But for me, I feel that, and I do have some ProFlow fittings, aeromotive, like these sort of fittings. I prefer the Speed Pro fittings, or Speed Flow, no, Speed Flow I think they call them. And I prefer these style of fittings over the ProFlow ones, because I've got the ProFlow for the accumulator, and I just find these are a little bit better quality. They're a little bit dearer, they're quite a bit dearer, but they're a beautiful fitting. I'm not bagging out the ProFlow. Actually, ProFlow, they've never leaked on me, but I just prefer, I think the quality, in my opinion, is a little bit better than the old ProFlow. But saying that, this radiator is a beauty. It's an absolute ripper. Now guys, to get this to work really well, I've had to duct all around here and seal it off so we don't get any bleed air into the engine bay. So all the air that gets rammed into the front of the car has to pass through this radiator. And that, guys, has been the ultimate for me to combating heat. Then, once it comes through, you have to make areas of air to escape easily out of the engine bay. And like I said in that other video, if you can have either side very neutral, you're going to get a huge amount of air flow through the car without a question. If you've got a high pressure side here, but you're still trying to ram it in here, well, you're limiting the air CFM flow through the rad. And that's been the key, guys, is sealing it off around the entry point so we don't get any bleed air. We're getting basically 99% get through the rad so we can keep everything cool. And that's been the success to what's been keeping a lid on the temps. I've never talked about this little thing either, guys. Now this is what they call it, I'll undo it and I'll show you. It's a filter. It's a great little setup. I've had this for nearly 20 years, or probably 15 years. And it's called, I'll show you the name, because if any of you guys are interested in it, and I'm sure he still sells them, you've only got to get on the old internet and find him. But that's a TEF bar. That's what he calls himself, TEF bar. and it just says clean filter frequently. All it is, guys, and I'll show you, I'll pull it out. And there may even be a bit of crap in there. There's an O-ring. Right, it's pretty simple. It screens all the crap that comes out of these old dinosaur blocks because they're scaling now. They're getting old. They're all letting little bits go. There's little bits of silicon and shit. So this gets rid of it all, guys. And I'll show you. Or traps it all. I bet you there's a little bit in it too. This will be interesting. I've done a race with it, so yeah, there is too. Look at that. There's not much there. I keep it clean. You see that? Oh, there's a little bit of silicon there. And you get a little bigger piece. You don't want that floating around in your radiator, blocking up your core, because your cores are quite fine. You get a little bit of stuff there. That's the best thing ever, you know, guys. That extends the service life of your rad. That's all I run. It's just this little filter and just screens out the crap. What a great little setup. So if any of you guys sort of want to look after your rads or got a new one in and want to screen out your crap, pop one of them in. Great little thing. Alright guys, well I think that's pretty much... I'll do a little ignition one on the next one. But yeah, that's it. There's nothing over the top, guys. But I can rev this little engine. I've got it set at 6.1. It's only because of speed at the minute. But I'd be more than happy to rev this to 7,000 revs. But for me, I'm never going to need to. I may lift it to 6.5. But that's about as far as I'll ever go with it, guys. It's so smooth too, you know. Once you get the revs up, you don't even feel it spinning over. There's no vibration because it's being balanced very well, and simple little combination. Works really well. I've only got standard push rods in it. There's nothing over the top because I'm not running huge lifts. Hydraulic lifters. So we're not got, you know, roller camshafts or flat tappets in it like a solid lifter. So the thing's built to rev and it's built to last. Alright guys, well I hope you're enjoying my little tech talk about the car and the specs on it all. Very interesting, it's very exciting, all this stuff, and it's proven itself. And that to me is so satisfying, guys. Alright, the next one will be the transmission, the ignition. I'll talk about the ignition and the diff. Then I'll talk about the fuel system and the water methanol, sort of what's inside the cab. That's an interesting one too, guys. So, yes. Alright. Hope you're enjoying it, guys. And I'll pop one up soon for the next one. I'll catch you after.